Hey everybody, I'm Rocket Brown, and it's time to get down.
And I'm Reggie Crow. Diddle-oo, 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 diddle-oo.
Here we're abusing Super Mario Bros. 3 nostalgia. But we've already welcome to another session of what makes video games work, where we do a bit of a retrospective on a certain series, talk about what works, talk about what doesn't, and talk about what they could do with games in the future. I think it's really important, especially with today's gaming.
Yeah, now you guys remember I covered a large portion of the Sonic videos. That was kind of my idea. But this time we're going to let Rocket Brown Kid take the reins with the Red-Capped Wonder.
Red Cap Crusader.
Yeah, the Red-Capped
Super
Crusader.
Mario himself.
Whatever, Super Mario. The mustachioed, linguini munching.
Now you just
Stereo.
now you're just pulling shit out of the Super Show.
Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Don't mess with my little buddy, Mama Luigi.
Please stop.
Captain Lou Albano was freaking Mario. That was the only thing that was cool about that show, was that it was a wrestler named Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, Mario was a wrestler. But
yeah, we're going to talk about what makes the game work, what makes the game doesn't work, and for future titles. So let's jump right into the muck, shall we?
Yeah, let's I think we should just start by saying keep in mind our frame of reference, because our first, I think, both of our first Mario games was Super Mario World.
Yeah, that's a pretty high standard.
Yeah, that's so many standards.
Side-scrolling.
Yeah, that's a lot of standards to me. And for us going back to play the previous games, they were we had a lot of I think we could both agree that we had a lot of fun going back to play the NES titles like Mario Bros. 1, 2,
I
3.
particularly had fond memories of 2 and 3.
Yeah, I definitely had fond memories of I think 1 and 2, only because I had the deluxe port of 1, which is the best port, so it was great. And hell, I think games, I think Raging Crow put it best, where Super Mario franchise has fallen into the Call of Duty syndrome of releasing the same game over again.
Specifically with the 2D side.
The 2D games.
Yeah, that's actually something that's been kind of plaguing, I think, a lot of classic series these days, is that complacency.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is, I mean to cut you off, but I think this is becoming more of a problem, like, in a lot of Nintendo franchises now. I think they're trying to use the new Super Mario's formula of game design, and because of that, I'm seeing a lot of Nintendo franchises suffer because of that.
Oh, you know what? Before we even continue, though, we should have a moment of silence. Rocket Brown, I think you know why. We should have a quick moment of silence for those of you who don't know. There was a recent loss in the gaming industry.
Hiroshi Yamauchi.
What's weird is I don't know when this video is going to come out. So for us, it was what, yesterday or the day before?
For us, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, yesterday, at the time of this recording, he had passed away on the 19th. He was the president of Nintendo since 1949. Keep in mind, Nintendo has actually had a rich history of gaming. Actually, it was founded in 1889.
A very old Japanese company that used to start off making Hanafuda cards.
Yeah. And then they got into toys because of Gunpei Yokoi, and then they got into gaming.
Yep. And look what they've become today. A big gaming conglomerate that's one of the 3 main companies in the industry. I know you were thinking I was going to make a snarky remark there. I'll save that for when we're done with our moment of silence.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, so the moment of silence over. Yeah, Nintendo has not done well lately for me. But anyway, let's get back to Mario. We were talking about complacency in the 2D aspect of games.
Yeah, the 2D, and it really started with with, like, I could definitely say that the 3D games have been consistently well made. Like 64, very innovative game. It hasn't aged well, but it's a game that I think we could both still appreciate.
Oh yeah, especially for its time. I would
Yeah.
not knock it because it was a great stride in gaming for its time. Definitely has not aged well. I've been playing it recently.
Yeah, we both have actually.
Has aged
And,
well, but then again, neither of a lot of games that came from that N64 era. GoldenEye's controls take a lot of getting
oh,
used to.
jeez. GoldenEye. I think it's also glitchy as fuck.
Yeah, definitely. Donkey Kong 64 did not age well at all.
No, and that came late in the system's lifetime.
Thanks.
That came out.
But anyway, we're talking about Mario. So yeah, the 3D games have definitely been innovative, and although the premise is relatively the same, 3D platformer and whatnot, there have always been something new to kind of keep it fresh.
Yep.
Super Mario 64 to Sunshine to Galaxy 2. I think only between Galaxy and Galaxy 2 have they been relatively the similar formula.
I think even say Galaxy 2 managed to differentiate itself enough from Galaxy 1 in terms of gameplay.
Okay, then yeah.
And I appreciate that.
And that's good, but like the 2D games, I don't think they've evolved since...
New Super Mario Bros. DS.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because even the DS game did a good job of, as far as handheld titles go, it's probably my second favorite of the handheld titles next to Land 2.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. It's my favorite of the new series. Only, like I say, it's the only one that tries to be original. Because yeah, it brought back some of the new Super Mario Bros. 3 level tropes, but also created some new ones that I really like the jungle one with the poison ivy lakes and the giant mutated bugs. And then you got the mountainous level where you had to do some like heading off the edges of cliffs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that was all great. And also the bosses are probably the most unique bosses we had in the Mario series since Mario Bros. 2, because you're not just fighting Bowser or the Koopalings.
Right.
You're fighting like Petey Piranha and like this giant pink and a different variety of bosses. Oh, and Bowser Jr.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was like I said, as far as handheld games go, it's pretty good. It's not the best. It's not one of the best 2D Mario games, but I definitely was satisfied from it. Especially,
right.
Like I said, for
But the new Super Mario Brothers games that have came out, specifically New Super
but
Mario
like,
Bros. Wii,
yeah, they're like Wii
U,
and
those games came out, and they suffer from what I like to call the clone syndrome, or the Madden syndrome, or the Call of Duty syndrome. Yeah, which is not only well, in my opinion, I think the mechanics aren't that great, but the game has pretty much came out successfully looking the same and feeling the same and being the same, minus a few different power-ups and
here's the
slight
thing
different levels.
Right. Now, here's the thing about the Mario. There's really nothing wrong with with the Mario gameplay. Like, Mario Control just fine. It's a more advanced version of the world, but the level design and the world design,
it's not conducive for multiplayer.
Yeah.
But that game harps about meaning for it to be meant for multiplayer. But the problem is that it's very chaotic. Too much crap is happening on the screen. It's very easy to get left behind. The bubble thing is really stupid.
Not only that, but you introduce 4 characters, but they all control exactly the same.
Exactly. So it's like the game fundamentally, where it's supposed to shine the best, multiplayer is very flawed and not very good.
Right.
So
and,
take
they
4
made,
games that have that same feel to it, and that's what we've got now. That's kind of what we're at now when it comes to 2D Mario.
Yeah, now it's kind of leaking into the other branches of the Mario franchises. Like, we're coming from 64 to Sunshine to Galaxy 2, and then we got 3D Land, which was different. It definitely was different. It didn't do a good. It tried to combine 2 game formulas in one. It didn't do that very well, but it was still a decent game.
But it's definitely not a step forward.
Yeah, I can't say. I'll play it over 64, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, that's really not.
Yeah,
Really not. That's not saying
and then
at all.
Yeah, and then you got 3D World, which is that the 3D Land gameplay. It's basically a combination of the 2D gameplay and the 3D gameplay. I think Galaxy did that a lot better. Galaxy 2,
Right.
because that's kind of what Galaxy 2 was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's about as on par as a PlayStation Crash Bandicoot game, to be perfectly honest.
But I
So-
like Crash Bandicoot.
I like Crash Bandicoot 2, but Crash Bandicoot, I can't speak for 2 and 3, but from what I played in 1, it's pretty much just Donkey Kong Country in 3D.
It got better. It got better
I
in
believe
2 and 3.
All right, I'll take your word for it, but yeah.
1 was, well, obviously, it has to be better than 1. Very rarely do you see a case in games where 1 is better than 2. Except for,
Yeah.
like, Devil May Cry, Castlevania, Metal Gear Solid,
Yoshi's Island.
well, Yoshi's Story was cool.
Your story was cool. I kind of like it better. I don't like. I'll probably
It's
play.
different. It's different.
I don't mind it being different.
No, I mean,
but
I'm
I
saying
think,
it's different in a way where it's like, I can't really compare the two.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can see why.
It's definitely different because Yoshi's Island was its own creature.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Yoshi's, it's okay, because I think that's one thing. If you're trying out something new and different, and it doesn't turn out the way you want it, then that's perfectly
That's how
fine.
I feel about Super Mario Sunshine. Only it turned out the way I liked it, because I liked Sunshine more. I think actually Sunshine is probably my favorite 3D game just because of how different it is.
And that's perfectly fine, because I feel the same way about Super Mario Bros. 2, although I probably play Super Mario Bros. 2 over Sunshine. But Sunshine is still it's one of my favorite GameCube games. It's not one of my favorite.
I agree on that, because I think Super Mario Bros. 2 is very good, and it's because of how different it is.
Yeah. And, but the thing is, like, Nintendo's not taking risk anymore.
Nah, they haven't taken risks for quite a bit of time.
They haven't taken risks. Like, the GameCube era was kind of the era where I think they were taking a lot of risks with the games, because we had our first 3D Metroid, we had Sunshine, we had Jungle Beat, which
Pikmin and
incorporated...
Luigi's Mansion that came out, and those two
Right.
styles of games hadn't even, like, really
Been done yet before.
Well, if they had been done, they weren't popularized.
They were taking a lot of risks.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And keep in mind, they didn't even think Smash Bros. Would do well in America.
I remember that.
First-
Boy,
Yeah.
were they wrong.
Of course I want to beat the shit out of Ganondorf with Jigglypuff. But,
I don't. I want to beat the shit out of Jigglypuff with Ganondorf.
I'll play Jigglypuff over Ganondorf, but that's just
I'll
me.
play neither. Give me Fox. Give me more Foxes.
Give me Fox and Ike. But yeah. And I think that's what we're here to talk about today. And I think it's good to start off with. I think we could start off with the gameplay with this one.